Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. How are you guys feeling about Bitcoin and the miners this week? We'll get into all that stuff. But we'll talk about obviously what happened with Bitcoin over the weekend, miners on Friday a little bit as well. And then we'll get into a couple things that we want to talk about, at least I want to talk about with you guys, is the number of SATS the miners generated per share. Basically in September, we'll look at that. We'll also look at the FASB impact. Basically, where Bitcoin has gone from the end of June, right, which was July, August, September is the next quarter that we had, Q3, and what that impact is on the miners as far as maybe EPS per shares there. And then we'll get into the weekly updates for the miners as well as far as how did they do last week against Bitcoin. So it should be a pretty fun show. We got quite a few things to look at, and we'll have fun with it. And then we'll get into your guys' Q&A as well. But as always, not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research. If you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's get into it. See what's going on here with Bitcoin and the miners here really quick on Sunday. I wish it was Friday again. Have a nice weekend again. Tomorrow is Columbus Day. Miners. Markets are going to be open tomorrow as well. So we have that happening for us. But right now, Bitcoin over the weekend, it was up and down a little bit here. Friday, we had a nice day on Bitcoin. It was up quite nicely, 3.71% at one point. It was almost like 5% up at one point. It closed at 62,518. On Saturday, Bitcoin was up a little bit more, 1.07%, closed at 63,187. And I was a little worried on that when I saw that. I'm like, oh gosh, I hope it doesn't run up too much here. And then we have the CME futures gap. But it came back down here on Sunday. It was down a little bit, 0.54%. It closed at 62,845. So that was good. I was happy to see that. At least we didn't get a huge spread here on over the weekend, and then had a CME futures gap here, which we don't have right now, which is good. I like seeing that because when we do have that, eventually it does get filled here, which is not good for us in the long term. So I like the way that things are setting up, at least right now, for Bitcoin. The miners, on the other hand, had a fantastic day on Friday. A lot of them were up 10%, some were up even almost close to 15%. But overall, everybody did really well. Majority of them did better than Bitcoin. A couple did a little bit less than Bitcoin, but I think only like two maybe did less than Bitcoin. Everybody else did at least a double of what Bitcoin did here, if not more. So BitDeer had a great day. It was up 10%. Cypher had a fantastic day. It was up 14%. It was up like 15% at one point. Cleanspark was battling with Cypher throughout the day, and then later on towards the end of the day, people were maybe taking profits or something like that, but it was down a little bit. It finished off at 10%, still a really good day for it. CORZ was up also 10% on that day. Who else did we have here that was double digits? That's basically it. Everybody else was like 5, 6, 8%, 7%. And the day was a really good day. Some of the ETFs were up nicely as well. WGMI was up almost 8%. BitQ was up 7.3. DAP was up 7.3. And then BKCH was up 5%. So it was a good day. We kind of needed that. We had a kind of wild day, wild week. We ended up in the green on Monday, and then we were coming down throughout the rest of the week here. But we're still looking pretty good here. We battled with let's go back here. We battled through it. Let me see. Actually, Monday was down. I was looking at the CME futures. Monday was down, but we did battle with our 50-day simple moving average on Bitcoin here. And then we rallied back above it, which is nice to see, along with the simple 100-day moving average as well. That's the blue line here. So I'm still thinking that these numbers here will start to converge like we saw last October as well. Possibly this week. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. Okay. But that is it. Let's take a look at the network hash really quick on Bitcoin, like we sometimes do, see where that is trending right now. Let me get that updated. And network hash rate is still at 666 exahash on the 7-day average. If we look at the 30-day average really quick, it is spiking back up here too. It is now at 647. Our previous high was at 653, so we're getting close to that as well. And that was at the beginning of September, basically. So a month away from where we were at that time. Looking at the monthly here, numbers for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's only down 0.96% on October. We expect to have a really good October here, and I think that's going to happen within the next 2 to 3 weeks if things play out the way they have historically. Okay. But you guys know this historically has been a really good month for us, October and November as well. And sometimes December, but we'll see how December plays out for us. December, I'm still thinking we might have maybe a slight green, but we might also end up in red, only because we have the end of the year. So institutions and hedge funds and mom and pop shops are going to be locking in profits at that point. And you may also have some tax loss harvesting as well happening in December. So we'll keep an eye on December when we get to it on that one. All right, let's take a look at a couple of things that I wanted to share with you guys here, which was SATS per share. So what we're looking at here is basically the amount of shares each company has. How much Bitcoin did they generate in September? And basically, what are you getting in SATS per share in each company? The one that generated the most here was Marathon, 223, followed by Cleanspark, 198. Iris was 184 as well, so that's nicely up there. Riot, 135. Core, 133. Bitdeer, 129. Hive, 95. Hut, 8, 81. Bitfarms, 50. Cypher, 41. BitDigital, 37. And TeraWolf, 36 as well. Some things that will impact it is the number of shares outstanding. So companies that have a lot of shares outstanding, even though they're generating well, they're going to generate less SATS per share on that. And that's just the name of the game here, unfortunately, for some of these guys. What else can I share with you guys here? Marathon. I saw quite a few tweets about Marathon over the last couple of days. It looks like they're back up and operational full bore, which is good to see, but they had a hiccup here. I don't know whether it was an issue with their pool itself or, I mean, because at one point it was showing like they weren't mining anything for like 24 hours or something like that. Or was it just their sites were down for some reason? I don't know why. But that seems to be resolved, so that's a good sign there. We'll see if that keeps up. But yeah, that's basically on the SATS per share side of things. I did post this to Twitter on Friday. I got quite a lot of engagement, so I thought I would just talk about it here with you guys on this. It's not really a comparison on the miners themselves. It's just what did you get for it, basically in shares. Okay, next, FASB. So as you guys know, the new FASB rules have a substantial impact on profitability of the miners. We saw the reverse of that happening in Q2, where we had a lot of miners with Bitcoin coming down in price. We saw a lot of miners being in the red because of it. So I thought we would just take a look at it here. What does it mean for Q3 now? Right, so what we're looking at here is where was the HODL at the beginning of the quarter, towards the end of the quarter as well, and where was Bitcoin beginning and towards the end as well. So we got the two different dates here. So Bitcoin at the end of the quarter ended at 62,668 based on my numbers here. It could be different depending on what source you're using. And then BTC ended the quarter, this should have been, 931 I believe it was on that one. And that was at 63,301. So we had a slight increase here by about what was that? Roughly, if that's 700, about $600 or so, right? Yeah, about $600 increase in it. So it should be a positive quarter for the month, or for the positive quarter for the miners. We can see that Marathon started out with 18,500 roughly, ended with 26,842. They did purchase a lot. I don't know what that's how is that going to be calculated? I'm guessing it's going to be calculated the same way. So I'm just calculating what they had in the beginning, what they had at the end. They started with 1.1 billion in value, and they ended with 1.7 billion in value here. So FASB, based on my numbers here, would be an increase of 537 million for them, and that would translate to approximately $1.83 per share. But the shares are going to change once we get the Q3 results for them, which we should have in probably the next 4 to 5 weeks, I'm guessing, on these miners here. So that will change. So we'll see an updated number on that. Cleanspark started out at 6,591. They ended the quarter with 8,049. That gave them an end HODL of value of 509,000, so an increase of 96 million for them. And that could contribute to about 39 cents per share, roughly, right around there, give or take a little bit. Then you got Riot here. It started out with 9,334, ended it with 10,427. That ended up giving them about 75 million in addition to that. So 25 cents roughly EPS additional to it. Now, you have to take into consideration any share-based compensation, any other expenses they put in there, depreciation, all that stuff could drag it down. But this is what they could possibly be adding into addition to that as well. Okay. Bitfarms had 905. They're at 1,147 here. That's going to be about 15 million in addition to that, about 4 cents for them. BitDigital, 586, up to 731 at the end. That's 46 million for them, or an additional 9.5 million, about 7 cents roughly. Hive was at 2,496. They're at 2,604 at the end of the quarter. That ended about 8 million to their FASB, about 7 cents on it. And then Hut 8 was at 9,105, and they ended at 9,106. That was about 5 million in addition of FASB gains there, about 6 cents per share. And then we got Bitdeer, Core, Iris, and TeraWolf not hodling anything. Cypher actually sold some during the period. So I'm not sure how that's going to affect it. I'm sure it's going to just maybe affect it on the amount that they do have. So yeah, that's the one that I'm pondering that one, how that one's going to work out. Seeing that they sold a portion of it to buy their new site in Texas there. Okay. So don't go off these numbers here, because I don't think it's going to be a negative 13. I think it's still going to be a positive some number. I just don't know exactly what number that's going to be on it. Okay. But this is kind of interesting to take a look at, just to see how the impact of FASB, especially once we get into like the current quarter that we're in, Q4, where Bitcoin could possibly go from the 63,000 that we ended last quarter in to possibly being like in the 80,000, 90,000, maybe even 100,000 by the end of the quarter. That's going to have a huge impact on some of these guys that have a huge HODL position here. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out for them. And if it does, I expect the ones that have a nice HODL position here to benefit greatly from that, especially as Bitcoin goes up. We're going to get a little FOMO in there. People are going to be buying in like crazy, and that's kind of what we want to see here with the miners going forward on that one. Okay. So that's it on the HODL FASB impact on earnings per share. And let's take a look at the weekly here. So the weekly, we look at this every week. You guys know this. The ones that have been following me for a long time, we take a look at this every week just to see where the miners are from the 52-week lows. Those are the kind of light blue, or I don't know if those are blue. I mean, not really blue. They're kind of like blue, dark, light blue gray charts on it. And then where are they from the 52-week highs? Those are the red bars down below. So TeraWolf is performing the best here. It's up almost 400% here from the last 52 weeks. In the last 52 weeks from its lows, followed by Core at 367%. Then you got IREN at 211%, Cleanspark 176%. BitDeer is 163%. Bitcoin's only 131%. So these five miners have been outperforming here Bitcoin. Some a little bit, some a lot more. Then you got Marathon 113, Bitfarms 107%, Hut 8 94%, BitDigital 91%, and Cypher 90%, Hive with 45%, and Riot, the worst performing here, has been 23.5%. So if you bought any one of these guys here in the last 52 weeks at the bottom, this is kind of where you would be as far as your gains right now. And if you bought any of these guys here, you'd be underperforming Bitcoin right now. If you bought any of those, you'd be outperforming Bitcoin. Okay, and then we can see where the miners are, how far away they are from the 52-week highs. We can see here that Cleanspark is the one that's the most away from it, 61% away from its 52-week high. So that one's come down quite a bit here, followed by Riot as well, 58%. And then we would have possibly Marathon, 52%, followed by BitDeer, Cypher, Bitfarms as well, and then Hive and all the rest as they go on. Okay. Now, looking at the last week performance, it was actually a pretty decent week. It wasn't that bad. Turned out to be better than what we thought it was going to be. But we had here, let me see, where's Bitcoin? Bitcoin was down 6% on the week here. Is that right? That's 4 weeks. I should be doing this by 1 week. Sort descending here. There we go. Okay, that looks better. So Core and Riot finished out the week in basically at zero. They were neutral for the week. Cypher was down just a little bit here. IREN was down 2%. Hive was down 5%. Cleanspark was down 5%. Bitcoin was down 6%. So these guys have kind of performed a little bit better than Bitcoin did. And then the rest, like Marathon was the same as Bitcoin, down 6%. BitDigital was down 7%. Hut was down 8%. Bitfarms was down 10%. TeraWolf down 11%. BitDeer down 14%. Looking at the last 4 weeks, things definitely changed at that point. Bitcoin's up 2%, and a lot of the miners have outperformed Bitcoin since then. Cypher especially, up 33%. And then you had BitDigital being up 17%. IREN up 15%. And then you had Core and Riot equally up, being 9%. And then a couple of miners being up 6-7%, Hut 8%, and BitDeer as well, and the rest. Looking at 12 weeks, things definitely changed at that point as well. We got Bitcoin being up 5%. The worst performer here has been Cleanspark here, down 19%. Bitfarms down as well, 15%. And along with Riot down being 2%, and Bitcoin being up 5%. So the miners that have outperformed it are Core being up 21%, Cypher up 7%, IREN up 9%, BitDigital up 15%, and then we got TeraWolf 9%, and BitDeer up 13% from 8 weeks ago. And then we're going to look at the 12 weeks, and then things definitely change from there. Bitcoin's down 7%. Cleanspark's down like 40% from 12 weeks ago. Who else is down more? BitDeer's down 31%. Hut is down 29%, along with IREN. Then you got Marathon being down 21%. Riot down 20%. Bitfarms down 20%. The only one that has been performing really well still is Core, up 21%. I think the only thing that's keeping Core up is the fact that it has a nice contract with CoreWeave. That's going to be happening for them next year. So That one has been like the most consistent gains here recently from what I'm seeing here on the miners. And that's, I believe, attributable to CoreWeave and the contract that they have there. So last week we can see here we had mostly in the red, a couple miners that were in the green. Prior to that, we were in the green, and then we had a mix here of red and green. The week prior to that, we had a nice, really nice week here in 9/13 where we were just all across the board in green and nice gains here. Double-digit gains in a lot of these guys here. And prior to that, we had 2 weeks of red, we had a green. So hoping to get more greens as we go into October as we press on here. Okay, but that is it. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things here. As always, you guys know, this is available to all my Patreon members. The link for that is down in the description. $8 a month. There might be a couple spots for them, $5 as well. You're more than welcome to grab those if you can. All right, but that's it. Let's see what's going on here with you guys' questions. Let's see what you guys are thinking, where your heads are at. Are you guys still bullish or are you not on Bitcoin and the miners here? So let's see. All right, let me catch up with some of the questions here. What do we have here? Let's see. David's Wallet says, should have just bought MicroStrategy 2 years ago instead of miners. Hey, at least I got Cleanspark at sub 4, everything else. Yeah, depending on what you got in, when you got into it, it could be a huge contributing factor to whether you're in the green right now or in the red. Yep. Well, besides CORZ, yeah. Okay. Is Cleanspark still more undervalued than IREN? Well, let's take a look at the latest numbers that we do have here for them on the enterprise metrics, see where we stand right now. Based on, we had a pretty nice run up here on Friday. Let me pull this up. Let's see how things stack up right now. Let me get my charts updated here really quick. I haven't updated them yet. Let me see here. Sort ascending, and then sort ascending here as well. And that should fix it. Yes, it does. Okay. So here we go. So right now, it looks like Cleanspark's a little bit more valued currently, 66 million, right, for the current hash rate, compared to IREN is at 53 million right now. But if we look at the future hash rate growth, we can see Cleanspark is at 33 million. IREN is at 37 million. So, I mean, you could say Cleanspark is slightly undervalued compared to IREN here, just a little bit here, but not much. Okay. Let's go back to the Q&A. Let's see. Let's see. Mark says, hey, Seb, September only has 30 days, boss man, for... Oh, okay. Thank you. I must have missed that one. I'll get that update right now. So 30 days. I'm terrible with calendar dates and months and things like that, as well as like remembering people's names. I have to meet somebody a couple times in order to remember their names going forward. I don't know why that is. I don't know if anybody else has that issue where they don't remember somebody's name, even though they talk to them, they meet them for the first time. It's just like my mind is full right now with everything else that I have. All right, let's get that updated here. Let's see. Chris says Riot is king. Hopefully they're going to do much better going forward here for you. Let's see. Josep, do you think pure BTC miners are going to outperform AI HPC miners, or have you changed your opinion and came over to the dark side with Bit Digital? Many are in the AI or plan to now. I am still thinking that the pure play miners might outperform here in the short term, right? We're talking about the next 6 to 12 months, maybe even less than that, probably. Somewhere around there, right? When we have a bull run in Bitcoin, I still think that they will outperform in that time frame. But long term, it depends on the number of customers that they get, right? Like Bit Digital, Core as well, possibly TeraWolf. They're talking about having customers there, IREN as well, all those guys. So it depends greatly if they can get another customer like Core got with CoreWeave. So that could definitely change there. But I think currently the pure play miners might do better. But when I mean pure play miners, I'm talking about like IREN. Most of its revenues from Bitcoin mining. They dabble in AI, HPC, right? Who else is in there? Cypher, TeraWolf as well, Hive, Hut 8. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Let's see. DJ Cash D says CORZ had gains this week. You have them at 0. Let me take a look at that really quick. Let's take a look at CORZ here really quick. If they were up on the week, that's on the day. Yeah, it does look like they had gains. Why didn't that update for me? And that was a good catch. Let me see on the weekly. Yeah, they were in the green. All right, let me see weekly. Let's go back to the weekly here. What do I have them at? CORZ was up 0.25% for my chart. Stock price waiting. Oh, I think I know what that was. I think. Yep. All right. Well, let's redo that one because I just noticed the mistake that I made. Thank you for pointing that out. See, that's the problem with having too many doggone spreadsheets on everything, trying to keep track of everything. Okay. Let's see. Stock market end date for the miners. Let me see here. Give me a second, guys and gals, while I fix my problem here. 10, 11, 24. Bitcoin 10, 11, 24. Okay, so here's the issue that I had. I'll point it out to you guys, so I'll explain it. And thank you for the correction on that. Greatly appreciate it. Okay, so here's the screen. So in here, I track the stock prices end of Friday. I updated this. I forgot to update the stock market end dates for my weekly charts, which is what I use here. The 10, so I had a 10-4. So let's go back through that instead of 10-11 at the end of the week here. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Okay. So now when we look at it here, let's see, descending. All right, things will look differently here. All right. And then we got core being actually outperforming. I got to update that too as well. Let me see here. Okay, sort descending. All right, let's take a look at this again. So now we got core having basically a new all-time high this past week. They're up 406%, TerraWolf 373%, IREN 177, Cleanspark also 177, so those guys are tied. BitTF 173, Bitcoin 132, and the rest you can see there how that has performed. And you can see here on core that core just basically had a new all-time high this week, right? It's only off by 0.5% on that one. All right, let's go back here. Let's see. So yeah, core was up 8%, Riot was up 7%, had a good week. BitTF up 4, Cypher up 2. Bitcoin's only up 1%. Everybody else here underperformed here on that one. You guys can see that. We're going to spend too much time. And then you can see here, last 4 weeks, Bitcoin's actually down 1%. See, TerraWolf is down 6%. Bitfarms down 8%. Everybody else has outperformed Bitcoin here, especially Cypher, Riot, and Core, along with Cleanspark being up 7%. And then from the 8 weeks, things look different as well. Bitcoin's down only 3%. Everybody on this side pretty much has underperformed. These guys over here outperformed Core, Riot, BitTF, and Cypher. And when we look at 12 weeks here as well, we can see Bitcoin's only down 8%. Everybody except for TerraWolf has underperformed Bitcoin, and Core being up 29% here. So thank you for that. Okay. So yeah, that definitely looks a little bit different. And I should have seen that when I looked at these numbers, but I didn't. So again, thank you for that correction. We corrected it here. Now I have to do a correction video on this. So really appreciate it. Okay. Where do I want to go? I want to go back to the Q&A. Okay, got that fixed. Let's see. Feels like retail all stuck in miners. Brad says, I don't know. Would be LOL if the bull was just over. Yeah, that would not be good. Let's see. All retail holding bags of miners. Not all retail. I think there are a lot of retail are also trading these guys. They're trading in, trading out, buying at the peak, trying to buy at the bottoms. There's a lot of different approaches happening here with a lot of the investors here. Okay. Samuel James says, hey, sending greetings, I guess, from Ireland. Thank you so much. Regarding Mara buying Bitcoin, is it at all possible they're buying to sell again towards the peak instead of only being able to sell the Bitcoin they mine? Okay, well, historically, Marathon has not sold towards the peak. Last cycle, they hodled through it all the way through. The prior cycle as well. They bought Bitcoin at that point as well. They bought 4,000 Bitcoin, like when they were just starting out, more or less. So I don't know. They don't have a track record of selling it towards the peak. They have a track record of hodling it. I think it would be great if they sold a large portion of it at that point to then fund their growth into the bear market and things like that. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Okay. Brett says, MicroStrategy has been outperforming all miners by a great margin this year. At some point, those profits will move to the miners. MicroStrategy's overheated. Thoughts? I think so too. I think MicroStrategy is getting a little too overheated right now as well. I think we're going to have to see a little bit of a pullback on it in order to keep a continuation of a nice, healthy run for it. Let's see. Para says, people need to understand the difference between flat growth and growth when it comes to economic macro cycles. Our current pump has just retraced previous all-time highs. We are entering discovery. Okay. Interesting there. Let's see. It's energy cost for each miner in Texas. I'm not sure what you're referring to there, Eddie. Okay. Carol asked or says, do you believe Cleanspark is undervalued by the market because it is trading below the 2050 and 200 MVA? Yeah. I think it's just in general undervalued from where it is at, its peers are at, what it's gotten to already. It's already at 30 exahash, or even more than that right now. Getting to plus 37 exahash this year. So I expect it to do much better. And even looking at the enterprise value on it, it's way undervalued right now. Let's see. We are in the middle of October, and when will Bitcoin start going up? It should start going up here like this next week and into the following week as well. We're not quite, well, I mean, we're what, 13 days in? Yeah, I mean, we're kind of getting to the middle of it. But we should start running up. And maybe what we saw on Friday is just a prelude to what's going to happen later on this week. We'll see. Okay, Mike's Life and Fitness asks, what exahash does Bitfarms need to install to get investors interested? I don't think their 12 exahash 3 months late target will do it when all the other miners are going up more month after month. Yeah, I mean, they need to install it as fast as possible. Ben has said that a lot of their growth is going to be in the fourth quarter, where they expect their sites in Paraguay to be operational and energized and all that stuff. That's where we're anticipating a lot of the growth to get to 21 exahash. So this is the time when we should be seeing it here. But he did say it's going to be like November, December timeframe where we're going to see a lot of the growth. Okay. Do you believe Cleanspark has the most momentum for pure play miners? I do think so. A couple of reasons. Their growth this year has been fantastic, phenomenal actually. They're beating their own projections, right? Originally they were supposed to get to 32 exahash by the end of the year. Now they're looking at 37 plus. So I'm thinking maybe they get to like close to 40 exahash. We'll see. But that's a beat on that one. Also, their HODL has been increasing tremendously as well this year, which I think is going to help them out as well with that. So I do think that they are one of the best operators out there. There's other ones, IREN as well, but IREN doesn't have a HODL position, but IREN has that HPC AI play. So if they get an HPC AI play, that could also benefit them. So there's a lot of different little intricacies in all these miners. But I do believe Cleanspark is like one of the top ones that I think might perform the best once Bitcoin starts going up. Okay, let's see. What are your thoughts on this chart? I'm not sure which chart you're referring to. Let's see. Awesome information as always. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thanks for coming in. Okay. So stalemate until election. Need the Trump pump for the holiday season. Might be a possibility there, but based on previous cycles, the elections don't have any impact on Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes up anyways, regardless of who's there, whether it's a Democrat or Republican. I keep saying that all the time. Okay. Ronald says, go to bar chart, Sebastian. Yeah, I made that correction there. Okay. Okay, C says, so C, I think you're a skeptic here. So LOL every video, every day, every week to keep pushing back the Bitcoin run. LOL, what's next? November 2025 run. I mean, that is obviously your opinion there. I'm still bullish on Bitcoin. But like I said before, if we don't get a run up in Bitcoin here, like in October, November, and price is still at 60, some maybe 70,000, then this is definitely going to be a different cycle than we've had in the past. It could be an extended cycle. Okay. Where will core stock price be at the end of 2025, including Bitcoin? Oh, geez, I have no idea. At the end of 2025, there's a lot of unknowns there. Where's the network hash rate going to be? Where is their hash rate for self-mining as well? And then we know what their revenue is going to be on from CoreWeave. So we can kind of figure that part out. But the other unknowns are Bitcoin price, network hash rate, and then what is their hash rate is at. So that's tough to say. I'm guessing Bitcoin's probably going to be maybe retracing back down from an all-time high. Then we might reach in October, November, and might be down to like, I don't know, 150, 130. Who knows where it's going to be by the end of the year. Sadie, yes, thank you so much. Likes help the channel. Okay. Question, is Trump winning in the polls? I'm not sure. I'm not tracking the polls on that one. Or on both candidates, actually. It's just like, it'll be what it'll be. not much I can help. Not much I can do anyways here. Even if I voted for Trump in Illinois, I doubt my vote's going to get him the electoral votes here because Illinois is just a Democratic state for them historically. So not much I can do there. Let's see. I'm thinking assuming repeat of previous cycles is dangerous. I'm able to hold an ad. Hope all are prepared for this. I'm thinking assuming repeat of previous cycles is dangerous. Okay, so like history not repeating itself, right? But it rhymes sometimes. The only thing we really have to go on is the historical cycles of the Bitcoin. And historically, it has done this. The only thing that's changed this time around is Bitcoin has reached a new all-time high before the halving event, which has never happened before. So that's already a different cycle. Okay. What is IREN's current exahash, and do they still need to purchase all their miners to get their future 40, 50 exahash growth? They are fully bought to 30 exahash this year, or 31 exahash, I think. The additional 40, the additional 10 that they have an option to buy has not been purchased yet. I haven't seen anything on that. And then also, will they need to purchase a lot more infrastructure? They don't have to purchase infrastructure. They have to build it out at their facility there. Okay, Gary says, Mara bought coins last cycle at 33,000 and sold at 16, so not great past record. Yeah, they bought 4,000 Bitcoin at, you might be right, it might be at 33,000. I can't remember what the price was, but they bought 4,000 at that point. And I thought they didn't sell any that cycle. They started selling, when did they start selling here? Let me see here. I may have that in my charts. Marathon, when did they start selling that I started recording here? Let's go back here. Let's see, undo rows 12 and 9. Let's see here if we can find it. Okay, so this is going back to April of 2022, basically. BTC hodl, BTC sold. So they sold a little bit here in July at that point. I'm not sure what Bitcoin was at that point on it. They sold 26, but then they weren't really selling much. They sold a bunch here in December 2022, which was basically, I think that was the bottom of the bear market that we were in, right? Yeah, December 20, yeah. And then we started having a nice run up here in 2023. They were selling more consistently throughout 2023 here, all the way through 2024. And then they started actually holding and adding more to it. We're selling less than they were mining here. It looks like BTC sold on average, more or less. So, yeah. We'll see if they sell. But prior to that, I know that they weren't selling anything, I believe, on them. Okay, going back here. All right. Oops, where are we at here? Okay, there we are. Okay. See, Brett says, Wall Street and bankers are here. They're not your friends. I've been following BTC since 2013. Bankers here now, see me, etc. Naked shorts, derivatives. Yeah, but they also want to make money too, right? They're making money that way, but they also want to make money for their investors, especially with the ETFs. What is your honest opinion on what Bitfarms exahash will be at the end of this year? I believe it's going to be 21. I still have faith in them executing the rest of the year. There were some issues like we talked about in the past where the miners for the T21s especially, they had 1.5 exahash of those being returned to Bitmain to get new ones as well. And those haven't come in, I guess, at the end of September here. That's why they're still behind on their schedule. Okay. Here he says, IREN is 37% more efficient than Cleanspark and has cheaper energy cost. Q4 difference would be huge. Bitcoin going up, and the HODL, I think, offsets that as well for Cleanspark. But that's why I have both of them. I think they're both really, really great companies. Okay. What likelihood do you think we will see 49, 52,000 range before we run up? Very low likelihood, I think, on that one. Okay. Do you think we might see a big dump if Trump doesn't win and then rally again in 2025? I don't think so. No. Okay. Let's see here. Just need to get to February to hit long-term cap gains and loss. Need to pump after that. Okay. Let's see. Is Stronghold undervalued currently if you will receive 2.5 shares of Bitfarms for every share of Stronghold? I don't know. I would have to look at their numbers. I'm Going to be doing those numbers this week for the smaller miners. Stronghold included in there. What else do you have here? Argo, DMG, Digihost, Mawson, and Sphere 3D in there as well. So I'll get that updated later on this week. See, Gary says, yes, Mara held through the entire bear market only to sell December 22 to mark the bottom. Okay, yeah. I knew they were holding through prior to that as well. But the interesting part on that was Fred Thiel even stated that they did their own internal analysis. What's the best strategy going forward? And they came up with the best strategy is to sell a portion of half and keep half, and yet they still don't do that. They've been doing the opposite. They've been hodling everything or selling a majority of it, which is kind of strange. Okay. Made some good money as of late. Put it towards DCA and Bitfarms or start position split between Cleanspark and IREN. Also hold some positions in Mara and Riot large cores. Thinking diversify. Yeah, diversify is fine. Yeah, depending which ones you want to get into. I would say Cleanspark, IREN are great. Bitfarms also. So just depending on which one you want to get into. Let's see. What should I long, Wolf or CORZ? I would say probably CORZ. I think CORZ is the more better bet. I wouldn't say better bet. I would say it has a better potential long term than Wolf, but I could be wrong on that one. Okay. Let's see. Tone says Doge's at 16 billion and hit 100 billion last bull. Without institutions and sovereign wealth won't invest in memes, but can invest in miners. Can they drive a couple miners to 100 billion market cap? Oh gosh. This cycle, I don't think so. Right now, the miners that I'm tracking, the 12, let me see, where's their market cap? Their market cap right now is only at approximately, let me see here, equals this right now. Their market cap is only 21.1 billion right now. So if you're talking to 100 billion on one of these guys here this cycle, I just don't see it happening here. I could see possibly some of these guys getting to maybe close to 20 billion, possibly, maybe a little more than that per individually, and combine I'm thinking 150 billion to 200 billion for the whole group here, possibly this cycle. But that's being kind of conservative as well. So I don't think, not this cycle. Let's go back here. Okay, talk about that. Let's see. Brad asks, is Mara doing too many side projects and getting distracted from the pure mining BTC they are about to get past? Hopefully Cleanspark can pass them market-wide. So that'd be pretty big get, because right now, let's see, Marathon's about 4.7 billion, Cleanspark's at 2.3. I mean, Cleanspark would have to double basically in order to just overtake them. And also have to remember that Marathon has a huge hodl position there, which also helps them out. So it might be tough. They might, if they overtake them in hash rate growth here later on this year and into maybe next year as well, that might do it, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay. Let's see. Question, what would be a good entry point on core? Jeez, if you haven't gotten into core already, I don't know what else is going to be a good entry point on that one. That one has, as you can see here on the daily, it's been having a nice run up here recently. I mean, you had a nice entry point here when it was like $6, $7, something like that, if you could get in at that point. But other than that, if you didn't get in before that, I think right now, dollar cost average in if you can into it and see where it runs up to, especially next year when it gets the revenue from CoreWeave. Once they start initializing those data centers for the HPC AI for them, they're going to start generating revenue from that. Yeah, that's going to be interesting on that one. All right, let's go back here. Okay. So Gary says, we had a big dump on Trump losing the debate. No way it doesn't repeat if he doesn't win with the day after the election. I mean, how much of a dump was it? It was a couple percentage points. It wasn't that massive on it. Now, we might get a little bit of that, but I'm not, I'm thinking of a major dump. I'm thinking 10, 20% dump on it. I don't think we'll see that. Okay, Sarmelon says, even though miners have failed to create shareholder value, I still greatly appreciate all you do, Sub. You're very welcome. And I kind of disagree with you there. I think they have created shareholder value. It also depends on when you bought into them. That's a big thing. Okay, let's see here. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna have to remove you, Fragrickle. Patience has run out on you, buddy. Have a good one. Thanks for coming in, though. Let's see. Nope. I'm gonna put you in timeout. There we go. Put you in timeout for 24 hours. Okay. What else we got here? Eddie says the entirety of the combined market cap of the miners is 21 billion, and 90% of it comes from ATM dilution. Oh, not really. A large portion of it does, though. I will agree with you there. Okay. Is there any merit to the shareholders' lawsuit against IREN for alleged misrepresentation regarding HPC capabilities of Texas mining sites? I don't think so. I've read that. It's based on the short report that came out on them, and it was. I don't think there is. I think they're going to be fine with it. It's just lawyers chasing possibly some sort of a settlement or some. I don't know, but they would be wise to fight it. I think, and they could probably win it, but because there was no misguided information or anything like that I could think of with IREN talking about their Childress site and possible HPC capabilities there. They do have the capabilities there. Right now they're mining or they're using the HPC up in Canada for the most part. But could they do it in Childress? I believe they could. Okay. See, SNH says, I believe Bitfarms will surprise us when they announce their October data on November 1st. Bitfarms is ready to move higher. That would be great. I would be happy for that. Okay. Let's see, Carol says, November election is overhang on BTC and miners, but they will after election, no matter who wins, because Gary Gensler will be out at the SEC. Maybe. I don't think that has anything to do with it. Right, Gary Gensler's not been a fan of Bitcoin mine. Oh, not. I wouldn't say Bitcoin miners maybe, but anything that having to do with cryptocurrency. So, and Bitcoin still has continued to go up regardless on that. So I just don't see that being as a catalyst. You guys are thinking too much that the U.S. has too much power on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a world thing. It's not just the United States. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Regarding IREN lawsuits stating that Childress site for not being able to host or do HPC. Talked about that one already. Okay. Let's see. Is Bitcoin finally going boom this week? Well, that's kind of what we're expecting here. Historically, if that happens, we'll see where we go. Where's Bitcoin right now? Bitcoin's just still down a little bit here, but we'll see. It'll be an interesting week. Talked about that. Okay, I'm just trying to see. Okay, Roger says, geopolitical news, North Korea threatening South Korea by blowing up their roads. Oh gosh, is that, I mean, that's got to be probably Putin poking his little fingers into things like that, trying to get as much of the world distracted as possible. That's kind of what I'm thinking there. It's just crazy. We'll see how that ends up being. Let's see, is it a holiday in U.S. stock market tomorrow? We are off in Canada. No, I checked it. I did a search on Google as the markets closed. They said no, it's not closed on Columbus Day. Let's see, how high can Bitfarms do at 35 exahash and if BTC at 150,000? So you're looking at roughly where we're at from here as that 2 something. That's going to be 2.25x on Bitcoin roughly. I would expect. Now that doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I would expect Bitfarms to be somewhere around like $10 at that point if all things were equal, if not higher. Okay. Hi, so what are the chances of hitting 21 exahash in a year for Bitfarms? Roughly 2 months remaining for them. Stock price still lagging. I guess that's their less bet. I think the chances are good there. We saw some more updates from Bitfarms on Twitter about their sites. They're getting close to completion there, which is good, which is what we need. And then they just need to get energized, miners installed, all that stuff is happening. So Ben has stated in the past that it's going to be in the fourth quarter, we're going to see a lot of the growth. Okay. How high at 45 exahash as well? It depends where Bitcoin's at that point, but I'm expecting Bitfarms to go at least above 10, closer to 15, depending where Bitcoin goes, if not higher than that. Okay. Hypothetical, if a lengthened cycle or recession happened, which miners would you expect to be able to weather the storm, and which would you expect to crumble? These guys here that I'm covering, they're very well funded for the most part. Some of them have a large HODL, some of them don't, but they at least have good cash positions on hand right now. So I think they could weather the storm better than some of the smaller miners. So it's the smaller miners that would maybe think would crumble, like Argo, Sphere 3D, Stronghold's being bought out by Bitfarms, so that's gonna basically be a lifeline for them. Who else is out there? DMG, Digihost. I think those guys might be okay. They've been pretty lean the past cycles as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on those guys. Let's see. Cleanspark price target when Bitcoin gets back to 70,000 in a few weeks. Oh, then we're looking at being, what is it at now? Jeez. Cleanspark's at $9.59. I would guess somewhere around $12, $13, something around there, maybe. Okay. How much time do you think we have left to buy miners before we head to Valhalla? If historically speaking, if we have the same cycles like in the past, I mean, you're running into like the last couple of days, couple of weeks, possibly at the most, to buy as much as you can. Okay, while Seb's still confident in Bitfarms, they are not executing still. Do you think they are going to meet their end of the year targets? I still think they are. We have had hiccups. We've had hiccups with other companies as well in the past, but they, turn things around. And the only reason I still think so is because of Ben's comments, his interviews that he's been on with Anthony and Bryce and other places as well. So I still see them as being confident that they can reach those goals. Okay. Hi, Seb. Where do you see Riot, Cleanspark, and IREN if BTC reaches 100,000? Thank you. Well, at that point, we're looking at roughly 60% gains here in Bitcoin, more or less. So I would expect the miners to do at least a 2x, if not better at that point. Okay. How much global hash rate do you think it will grow end of year 24 and mid 2025? Mine of this year was around 800 to like 900 exahash. We're at 600 some right now, so we might be on the lower side of that. I'm guessing maybe between 700 and 800 exahash here by the end of the year, using the 30-day moving average on it. By mid 2025, I don't have any projections for the miners as far as where they're planning to grow next year. So that will highly depend on where they're growing, and then where does the rest of the market that on track go to, right? Currently, the miners that I cover have 29% market share of Bitcoin network hash rate, roughly. Gary asks, Seb, are you still confident you will win Miner Madness? It's still early. I know I'm down in the rankings right now. I'm like at 168 or something. But all we need is a couple of days where, Bitfarms does good, Cleanspark, IREN do well, Bitcoin does really well as well. So we just need a couple of those days to really get us back up, get up there. But we'll see. Who are your top three in the Q4 competition? So it was, I think I had Bitfarms, Cleanspark, IREN. I think I had in order, I think. And then Bitcoin getting to like 113,000 by the end of the year. We'll see how close we get to that. The 80 IREN and 70 Cleanspark still in play? I think so. We'll have to wait to see what they come up with the numbers for Q3 as far as shares outstanding. That might change a little bit. I've already went down a little bit on Cleanspark from originally I think it was going to be 70 to now being 60 to 70. IREN could also come down a little bit as well, depending on the number of shares. But then it also could be offset by Bitcoin going up to 200,000. Okay. Why does HUT 8 have more institutional investors than most other miners? I don't know if they have the most. Actually, let me see here. Institutions. Where are my institutions numbers? I just did those last week also. Where are they at here? Institutions. Okay. So if we do it as a percentage based, let me see, descending. I'm going to do that. Oh, yeah, you're right. HUT 8 does have the most here. Oh, that's a 6 months difference though. They've had the most gains in institutions here over the last 6 months. You can see that over here. Hut 8 had an increase of 46% added to it. Right, the change in it. But if we look at Hut 8 on the numbers here, I think actually Marathon might have the most. Marathon or Core? Can't remember which one. Institution. So they had 58.91. Marathon had 58.48. Let's see. So that was Hut 8 was 58. Okay, so they do have them beat a little bit here. 58.41. And then where's Core? Core is right there. Core is at 60% owned by institutions. So CORZ has them beat as of 10/7, so as of last week, basically, on that one. All right, going back here. What else we got? Okay. Have you heard the news? Google's removing the Bitcoin price at the front of search. Thoughts maybe they are trying to suppress price and know what's coming. Supply shock. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they're just not. Yeah, I don't know why they would do that. I mean, maybe you can get the price of Bitcoin everywhere else. So I don't know how much people are searching Google for a Bitcoin price. They're probably using, different trading apps, other things like that. Let's see here. Seb, what do you think Cypher could hit? Cypher is a tough one for me because Cypher's growth is not until a lot of the growth is not until middle of next year. So I don't know, unless they come up with better guidance for next year that they're going to be installing a heck of a lot more hash rate in the beginning. Right now, it's tough to say where that could be at. Let's see here. David says, in November 2020, Riot went from $2 to $70 by February 2021. Can Bitfarms do that? No, they're not going to $70. Nowhere near that. Riot at that point had a lot less shares also. And let's see. Yeah, they had a lot less shares. Bitfarms has a lot more shares right now than that. So, yeah, I just don't see that happening. Which countries do you believe have the most investors in Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners? Oh, gosh. I'm guessing the U.S. probably, right? Okay. Gary says, I can't give you a hard time. I have the same 3 miners, different order though. Okay, yeah. So we're in the same thing in there. Ronald says, I see Core. We've got $650 million credit facility from the big banks on Wall Street backing them. Should get them some good news for CORZ. On the rest of the 118 megawatts remaining, there's going to be a big pop, possibly, if they decide to go with CORZ here, right? But maybe they don't want to put all their eggs in one basket. That would be smart on them to diversify a little bit, get into another place as well, possibly. Roger says, Hut has to be one of the worst miners of the pack. Bitcoin, when it comes to Bitcoin mining, yes, they are the worst. Okay. What makes CORZ different from others? It climbs up. Well, yeah, it climbs up, but it also has a huge AI customer there. Okay. Mortim says, Friday seemed to be a reaction to PPI, which was okay, but iffy. Yeah, I agree. We still have PCE on 10/31, which is a week before the election and the Fed meeting. Yeah, I'm guessing we're still going to get another Fed rate cut. 25 basis points is what I'm thinking of. Why do you think IREN has such a low short interest? I don't know. I'm not sure on that one. And then how high can Mara and Riot go this cycle? I think Riot has to fix operational uptime. They do have a huge HODL position there, but I think the operational stuff there is kind of holding them back maybe. Excuse me. Mara on the other side of things have improved their operations greatly. They have the biggest HODL here out of the miners, so I would expect Mara to maybe get close. I mean, it's going to be tough for them. They're at, I'm guessing somewhere between $50 and $80, maybe somewhere around there for Mara. Bitcoin gets to 150,000, something like that. Riot's going to be a little bit more challenging on that one because of their operations, right? They should be operating much higher than they are. And if they do that this month, next month, then December going forward, then that might change the scenario for them. Okay, I talked about that. Bitfarms fully funded to 21's Stronghold, 10% dilution, roughly. How much to 35? How much more dilution to 35, you mean? Oh, good question on that one. I think with Stronghold, they could get to 35, but they're still having to update, they have to upgrade their facilities there, the connections and the power. And 35, depending which miners they get, when they get those, and how much they're paying per terahash on it. So you're looking probably, I don't know, another 100 million, maybe. Just doing the quick math in my head here. Okay, let's see. Sebastian, the question was, why would Hut 8 have so many institutional investors? Is it related to HPC planning? Could be. And I think them being also in Florida and Miami headquartered, that also helps a little bit. And they also have a great salesperson there with Sue Ennis. She does a fantastic job for them as a spokesperson. And I think the deal that they got with Chu for $150 million as well, that helped things out. I think that's when we saw a lot of investors coming into that at that point. How high Hive can do this cycle as well? Hive did a reverse split here this current cycle. So, and they're also looking to only have about 1% of the network hash rate with their mining. So I don't know. That one's a good question. I think it probably can go higher from where it's at right now. I mean, it's at, what is it at right now? $3. I would think, 10, maybe $10 to $15 somewhere around there, if not, maybe not a little higher. Okay. Jake posted that he thinks the run up in the next 46 weeks will shock people and trigger many buying algos. Oh, well, that would be good. Okay, I believe the reason for Hut 8 having a lot of institutions interested is because Asher Gnut and his team are very charismatic and they know how to persuade to buy their very bad run company. I won't comment on that. Okay. I can't remember. Did you do a video on Q2 cost per coin? I did do that, yeah. So search for that one. That should be up there. Okay. And then Roger says, geopolitical news, China planning to do combined Navy Air Force drills around Taiwan. Well, they've been doing that for the last, what has it been, year to 2 years, however long it's been going on that one. All right. So it looks like we've caught up to all you guys' questions here. I see one more popping in here. You think Bitfarms will do a reverse split this cycle? Based on what I think I asked him or somebody else asked him, I think maybe Bryce or Anthony also asked him on that, would they be interested in doing a reverse split? And he stated that right now they're not looking into it. Okay, let's see. If most of the investors in the world are in the U.S. and BTC and miners are in the U.S. and election has big impact on sentiment and price, would you agree? Maybe. I mean, looking at that point, yes. But if you look at historically, look at the last cycles where we had the elections and where did Bitcoin go after it? There might be a little dip, depending on the results, whatever or not, but did it stop Bitcoin from going to new all-time highs? No. Jose says, hit the button for the GOAT. Sebastian, appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, if you guys enjoy it, hit the like button. If you don't hit it. Okay. Let's see. Smart Money will buy the dip if Kamala Harris is elected because she will replace Gary Gensler as SEC, which will be a boost for the crypto market. Possibly. Right? We'll have to see. Thanks, Seb. Appreciate your videos. You're very welcome. All right. All right. We're going to finish it up here because we're going already for about an hour here. So we're going to call it a day. And then we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll look at some other metrics that we can on the miners, and we'll just go from there. So I wish you guys a great week. I greatly appreciate you guys coming in here, as always, to spend a little time with me and ask great questions, as always, which I love because you guys make me think as well. So, but yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll see what happens in there. We'll see where Bitcoin goes. We'll keep track of everything else that's happening here. So we'll see if we get any news updates from the miners as well. All right. But have a great week. I'll see you guys tomorrow.